Lancaster, Bakersfield, Fresno, Sacktown. What's up, Oak?
And that is a little bit of Get 'Em. This is Rapping with Leiberman, presented by EveryJoe.com. What we say here is we bring you real news, rappers' points of view. And I want to thank you very much for joining us. I am Jon Leiberman. So good to see you, joining you from New York City. We are going to start with the rap. And for the rap, I want to bring in our friend. His name is Bishop Lamont, and I want to bring him to the program. Good to see you, Bishop.
Good to see you, bro. Thank you for having me, man.
Hey, absolutely. Look, we know you started rapping at age 13. You were signed to Dr. Dre's label for a while. Now you're hot again. Give me a rhyme, Bishop. Give me a little something to get us started here.
Fuck ISIS. That's priceless.
I caught you off guard a little bit of that. Hey, what's your relationship with Dr. Dre right now?
I was still in daddy mode right now, so I got to watch my potty mouth, man. Me and Dre are 100%, man. We were just hanging out Thursday night, getting really drunk. I call it interracial drinking, where we drink clear and we drink dark. So we were doing that.
Hey, who's the best rapper out there today? You?
I could be one of them, but really, man, honestly, there's no such thing. I mean, you can go by popularity, but there's so many talented cats that you'd be doing somebody a disservice if you really know your shit. So, you know, the best rappers really are dead. You know what I mean? Tupac and Biggie, Big L, and then you can go from there. But it's a lot of great cats out there, but I'm never one to say so-and-so is. So, you know, I keep it like that.
Give me a sense of how, when you sit down to write, how does the process work? Tell the audience, when you sit down, do you just have something in your head?
You know what? Sometimes you have something in your head, but most of the time it's going to be compelled by the music that you receive. Like a lot of times I'll get production, and a lot of times it'll be skeletal, but there'll be elements in it that kind of like provoke a feeling or a thought, and then you try to research that and go, what do I think this song should have? What should this song be about? I mean, that's for MCs. Rappers just always talk about fucking champagne, bitches, the club, you know, cocaine, and you know all that bullshit. So when you're really trying to do something with thought involved, it's a tedious process.
All right, and speaking of thought involved, we're now going to get to the segment of our program that we call the one-on-one rap. This is a time where Lamont and I are going to talk issues. There's a lot of issues out there to talk about. And we are going to start actually with the issue of race in America. And that is a really important issue. As you probably know, Starbucks has now come out with this new race together that they want people to actually talk about race and what's going on in the country. There's a big piece in the USA Today talking about race and what questions to ask. So, Bishop, let me ask you this. What's America's greatest race challenge right now?
Oh, man, where do you start with that? I mean, it pretty much is where it was even before the Civil Rights Movement started, because you're seeing things parallel happening now that happened then. So, I mean, the biggest issue is just being fucking honest with each other. Racism is here. We're not in post-racist America. Racism is alive and fucking stronger than ever. It's just covert. That was the difference when we dealt with the South back then, even before we were born, you and I, and before, at least with motherfuckers that were rednecks and were Confederates to the heart. They were honest and they let you know, fuck niggers, fuck kikes, fuck whatever, and they waved their flags. Now it's covert and they act like, no, it's all love and they want our dollars, they want our business, but it's the same thing, and then they try to hide it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's coming to the front again, and so we see the ugliness that has been here and has never really left. It just got really slick.
When you're talking to somebody, do you think the first thing that goes through their head is, I'm talking to a black man, or I'm talking to Bishop Lamont?
It depends on who you're around, because see, when people are just like brought up with people, they either see, is this guy an asshole or is this guy cool? That's really what most normal people go, is this a fucking weirdo? Is this a drug head? Or is this a cool guy? You know what I mean? I call a spade a spade. So it just comes down to really being a human being and being around people. When you deal with the normal run-of-the-mill self-introverted type of situation, people are not in tune to other people. So they have these prejudices, they have these assumptions, you know, which we're all guilty of to a certain extent. But when it comes to race, they're always seeing color first. Like if I walk down the street, you know, and there's a woman with a purse, she's gonna clutch your purse. Now, it can be anybody that'll steal your fucking purse, but for some reason, big black men, big buff black men are always the ones that are going to steal your purse, or a Mexican is going to steal your purse when anybody commits these fucking crimes. But that's what we're dealing with.
Do you think that baristas at Starbucks should be asking people about race? Do you think this is a good thing, this new program that they're doing?
I think it's a brave attempt. You know, I mean, it starts within our own homes, as corny as that sounds, but it really does, on some Michael Jackson shit, start with the man in the mirror. You got to ask yourself if you're fucking racist. You know what I'm saying? Because we all have some tidbits in us from bad experiences with different people of different colors. But if you like I came up in the 80s, I came up in the midst of racism and having to fight every day, where it was a fight, a nigger and a white. But here was the twist. It was my white friends fighting against other white kids that were racist. You know what I'm saying? So it really comes down to people's ignorance. So it really starts with us looking at it and diffusing that and really just seeing people. I separate people this way: good people and bad people, cool people and assholes. That's what I like. That's how I do it.
That is well said. I couldn't say it any better. Let's switch gears a little bit now to terrorism, Bishop. There's a lot going on in this world. You got Yemen, hundreds of people are dying. You had the attack in Tunisia. What's happening right here on our soil with the fear? Do you fear another attack on U.S. soil?
Attacks on U.S. soil are already happening, and those are happening by our local police departments. So before we even get to those terrorists, let's talk about domestic terrorism. So I'm not, you know, I still don't have enough input on ISIS. You know, it's like Al-Qaeda, it's like Taliban, this and that. But when I'm more faced with what's going on with our local police departments and these sheriffs and these people patrolling the streets, and they're shooting people that look like me, they're even shooting little white girls at the precinct. That seems to be more of an immediate threat for me, especially when they keep killing people every other week. So I'm not too afraid of ISIS. I guess that could be from ignorance, not knowing enough about them. But I see so much violence here in the streets. You know, from where I am to where you are in New York or anywhere in between, I call those greater terrorist attacks on our people because we're seeing it. And it's being videotaped, it's being witnessed, and there's nothing really being done about it.
Let me ask you this, though. Are there not good police out there as well?
Absolutely, but it's so hard to discern those from the bad ones. And there's such a higher level of fuck-ups than there are great things happening that you start to put them all together. You know what I'm saying? And you're pretty much scared when you see anybody, you know, with your badge, with their badge and their gun on their hip. But I don't want to get off subject with the ISIS thing. I don't know where this is going to go. It seems to be like they're trying to push for a whole nother war, and we don't need that. We still have troops overseas that need to come back home. I don't think our budget can take it. I don't think the people can take it. So I don't know. I really don't know, man. And
what about Iran? I mean, you know, we're talking about President Obama doing a deal with Iran over nuclear weapons. Do you think the president should go ahead and make this deal with Iran, Bishop?
You know, I've been looking at that issue, and I agree, because it makes sense that we need to try and put out as many fires before they can ignite. We had, you know, a couple of those guys put their letter together and send it behind Obama's back, which just looked like pure mutiny. But I think it's a wise attempt at trying to make peace and trying to open up means of communication so we can start to diffuse. What it really comes down to is hatred, old bad blood, and money. You know what I'm saying? And it's always a big dick contest. So if it can be diffused to any extent, I think it's a wise move.
You know, you brought this up and you touched on it a little bit about the letter and things like that. Let's talk about Israel. You know, Benjamin Netanyahu came over here, spoke to Congress. You know that. Now he's kind of pivoted on his opposition to the Palestinian state. But our administration is still angry. Do you think relations between the U.S. and Israel will ever be the same?
I don't think so. But see, this is us sitting here, and then what really goes on behind closed doors and what their real conversations are. So we can assume all we like, unless we can be a fly on that wall. So really, honestly, what are our relationships with Israel? They always say U.S., but as people, what are our relationships with their people? It's pretty much null and void unless we all have Twitter accounts and we have friends in Israel and we have friends, you know, you name it, wherever you want to say. Then you have some kind of open discussion that's really from the people, you know, of their public, to really start to say what kind of relationship we have. But until we're getting drunk together or walking down the fucking street, what can we say about what our relationship is with another nation?
All right, well, speaking of relationships, with the few minutes we have left, I want to talk about a new survey that was out that finds 54% of likely U.S. voters think Democrats should look for a fresh face to run for president in 2016 rather than a candidate who has already run in the past. Are you a fan of Hillary Clinton, Bishop?
I wouldn't say a fan, but I respect her, and I would love to see Hillary Clinton run, and I would love to see her win. I think the most fitting thing to follow up having the first, even though he's biracial, they still can't stand him, black president, to have a woman president, so we can continue where we left off with women's rights, you know, from earlier in the last century. So I think it's great, and somebody that's really experienced in it. I would rather them be here. I'd rather somebody who actually has had some campaigns in this kind of field than somebody fresh-faced that's got all these new ideas and just wants to be a star. Because nowadays it's pretty much selfie mode with a lot of these politicians. We've seen her tried and true, stand by her man. She's been here serving her position in other ways and dealing with a lot of bullshit, a lot of fuckery. So I'd rather somebody who's good under pressure than some new booty.
Let me ask you this. Monica Lewinsky is kind of back in the news now. She just gave one of these big TED Talks. I mean, that was big when you and I were kids, you know, Monica Gate and all that. Do you think that Monica coming back into the spotlight will have any impact at all on Hillary and the race, things like that?
I mean, let's start with, it's amazing that they allow a slut bag to be on TED Talks. That's incredible. That's incredible. She's famous for having cum on her dress or something, right? I can't really remember. And she gets a TED Talk. That's incredible.
She's fighting bullying now, so I get the sense that you're not a fan of Monica.
No. It's not even me being a fan. I'm just amazed. Okay, so now she's doing bullying. Before it was giving the president head. Now it's being bullied. Okay, no, I just got to get up to speed with current events. I don't see that having anything to do with Hillary running for what she represents and what she's trying to accomplish. I just think it's perfect timing for her to get more attention. It's always a fight for the eyes. You know what I mean? It's always a fight for attention. No disrespect to Monica Lewinsky because I don't fucking know her. I just know the history of how she became famous in the first place.
All right, it's time for our final segment. We here at the program call it Wrap It Up. And it is a good one. And I want to ask you, when we talk about Wrap It Up, Bishop, first of all, you know, you are incredibly well-spoken. You have a lot to say about issues. And the thing is, most rappers do. Most rappers write about the issues of the day. Why don't they get more respect? Why aren't there more programs, Bishop, where people like myself talk to people like you and we give you a forum to talk about issues? Because the reality is many of your raps have political undertones and messages.
You know, surprisingly, man, again, I want to thank you for that, John, because they don't give us that opportunity. But it takes a person and a man to recognize other men and humans and not say it's fucking rappers. It's just a bunch of monkeys making monkey noise because that'll be general. You know, that'll be the generalization made. They won't think we have intelligence. They don't think that we can hold a discussion. But at the same time, a lot of us can't, though, because they're fucking stupid as fuck. They just rappity rap and they're high. But I really appreciate having this opportunity. There needs to be more of it because with it being exposed, it raises the bar and the responsibility of us as artists, if that's what you choose to do, to make music that reflects our times and the things that we're going through. Most of the time, it doesn't, and it's just escapism, which is necessary to a certain point. But right now, motherfuckers need to really see what they're dealing with and become aware.
And we're playing a little bit of Get 'Em underneath the final part of our program here. So what are some of your projects that you're working on, Bishop, and some things you're excited about?
Man, I'm very excited about. See, I hate to even promote myself because it's really about the discussions that we're having, but I'll do shameless promo. Getting ready to launch the album, The Reformation, finally after all these years. When me and Dre had parted ways, it had been discontinued. And once we got back together, squashed all the bullshit, started drinking and have a lot of fucking fun together, finally going to release The Reformation, which is highly, you know, charged with political commentary and all kind of reckless shit that people need to hear. And that's what I'm focused on. And then there's a Boys and Girls Club program we're working on over here on the border of Watts and Compton, the Willowbrook chapter that we're going to be doing a music program at. Just a lot of dope shit that's going to raise consciousness, put a new light on artists and what we're doing with hip-hop and try to get it back in the right direction. Like for 25 years, motherfuckers have been rapping in the club. You know what I mean? It's like it's time to come out the club for a while and let's talk about some important things.
What's the future of hip-hop and rap?
That is a good. If it keeps going in the direction that it's going in, it won't have a future. I guess we'll have to switch all to EDM. But if you know, you got artists like Kendrick Lamar out there right now doing something really brave and doing something really dope and innovative. You got Talib Kweli. You got people out there still. So hopefully, if it doesn't have to stay underground and it can get back to a mainstream level with innovation again and something new, it can thrive. But if it keeps going the way that it is and it's very corporate minded and corporate controlled now, it's going to be destroyed.
What's the coolest thing in your studio?
My comic book collection. I don't know if you can barely see it behind me, but I got so
Can see a little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah, man, I got a crazy. I'm a buff nerd. I have a crazy comic book collection, man. Yeah.
Hey, I want to thank you, Bishop. It's good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and promise us you'll come and visit us in a few months.
Oh man, we're gonna be out there in New York promoting for the album. So if you drink, I would love to get wasted with you. And
I do. Let's have a couple cocktails when you're in New York.
Salute, man. Thank you to Mark too, man. Thanks for getting it right, Mark.
You got it. That's Bishop Lamont. He is a strong, opinionated guy. It's great to have him on the program. I want to thank you, my friends, for watching this evening. I want to thank MJ over at SuperIndieKings.com. We have some great shows coming up. We have DJ Spinbad who's going to join us. We have Bugs the Rocka who's going to come on. We got DJ Boskind. He's known as Question. We have MI from the Constant Deviants. A lot of people coming on. Please, you can subscribe to the EveryJoe YouTube channel. You can do it right now. And you can tweet us. I'm at Reporter John. Much more rap this week. And we'll leave you with a little bit more music from our man there who came to join us today, Bishop Lamont. Thanks again, Bishop. We'll see you later.
Salute, bro.
Fresno, Sacktown. Sup, Oak? Not Carson in the house and Compton in the house.